Hey, good Friday afternoon. Welcome in to Choosing Wisely, our weekly pick show presented by MasterTech PHC, like we do every week, ending this week, or at least the day before game day, making some college football picks with a special guest we will get to here in just a minute. But before we do that, as we do every week, want to remind you about the fine folks over at MasterTech PHC. Did you know that a $1 donation to the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri can be turned into $21 worth of groceries? Well, MasterTech this month is taking care of the people in mid-Missouri who need to be taken care of. When you book an HVAC service call with MasterTech throughout November, a $10 donation will be made to that organization. That means more than $200 worth of groceries. If you purchase a new heating and cooling system, a $100 donation will be made in your as part of that deal. You know it's going to get cold. Might as well get your furnace inspected, repaired, or replaced and help out a great cause. As always, as it's been the case all season long, if you do schedule that call with MasterTech and you mentioned to them you heard about it from Power Mizzou, you're going to get a $35 credit on a future service call for plumbing, heating, and cooling. Call them at 777-7777 and schedule that call right now. And as promised, we're going to bring in our guest this week, and we turn to a guy that since he quit playing football for Missouri, as far as I know, has done absolutely nothing except like graduate from law school, set up a foundation. Like Bud Sasser, man, you've been busy the last 7 years.
Hey, I've been busy. I'm in law school now, so
Okay,
I don't
in-law
want
school.
to push that and disregard the efforts of a lot of my classmates and
Well,
future
you'll get
peers.
there. You finish it up at some point.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna finish. So I'm looking forward to it. But man, thank you for having me on, Gabe. This is an opportunity that I was looking forward to after you brought it up to me, man. I've just enjoyed my time being able to speak with you over the years, and just what Power Mizzou has just brought to the University of Missouri football team. Just being fair, also, just one of the few who wanted to report on somebody who really wasn't getting that much shine. And
Yeah, yeah.
I remember those early years where I was really, Power Mizzou was a early backer of Bud Sasser. So I appreciate it. And
For sure.
I'm glad to be here. So
Well,
my
I've
last
joked.
few years, yeah. Go
I,
ahead.
I've
Sorry.
joked. I've had people on this show this year who like. I mean, you're in law school. I was joking with Denario. He's got 2 kids. I had Kim English on earlier this year. He's a head coach. Like, I covered all you guys in recruiting, and now, I guess it's just sign number 2,700 that we're all old, man. Some of us more so than others.
Hey, but everybody's still doing some great things, and
Yeah.
that's awesome too. So just seeing former teammates or former Mizzou players raise their families, begin restaurant or start restaurant franchises, or just do good things, just be present in their families' lives, and
Hmm.
just trying to make it work from day to day. I think is a little something that goes unnoticed for the most part, and it's great to talk about sports. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but it's even greater to see those guys who have done some amazing things on Saturdays really turn that over into the world of life and in business and things like that. So it's cool.
Well, and obviously a lot of the people that watch and listen to this show every week are people that followed you through recruiting and then up through your career. So I know you've got a website for your foundation and stuff. I just want to give you kind of a chance to plug anything for Mizzou fans out there who want to know exactly what you are doing. Just kind of give them a chance to know what's going on with you and with that foundation and maybe how they could check that out.
Absolutely. So for the foundation, for those who are tuning in, it's Sasser Nation Foundation. We are an organization that provides scholarships to high school seniors in my hometown of Denton, Texas. So shout out to Denton, Texas, and Denton ISD, um, and of course my alma mater, Denton Ryan High School, who is, I believe, still currently undefeated right now. So went undefeated last year, won the state title. Some light. something light how they do it down there. But I'm excited to continue giving out scholarships even through the time I'm in law school. Um, so I'm glad you brought that up because I need those who are listening to help me out here because clearly my focus is in a different area for this time being. And I don't want anything to drop off just because I want to go out and pursue further for my family and those who are following and have tuned in over the last 6 years in following assassination. So we are doing great things in the community. We continue to just uh just try to have a presence and make sure that we are doing our part in providing opportunities to those in the community. So you can go to assassination.com and you'll be able to really go through and even just all around the page, you can kind of find different links that'll take you to a donation page. But outside of just going straight to donate, I'm not going to tell you just to go straight there. Go check out the recipients, the scholarship recipients, and read their stories and read what they, some of their essays that they submitted to receive that scholarship and why that money is important to them. And that's what you'll see. And I think it's awesome. And they inspire me to just be where I'm at today. And it's very encouraging to me every year when those scholarship letters start coming in, or excuse me, the essay start being submitted, and I get to read those things and just see what people are going through and just see what they're fighting for. And I think that that's worth your time to read and understand what we are really doing at Assassination and not just trying to collect a couple dollars. We're really trying to make a difference out here. So
All right, well, you know how you know a guy's from Texas because he still knows his high school's football record, 15, 20 years later. But
hey, right.
Yeah, hey, Denton Ryan, man, I know. I think Brian Smith was from there years before you were, and then I know Earl Goldsmith and Calcius Williams. Like they've sent some guys up here over the years.
Exactly. So now Towski Dove, shout out to him. He's from Ryan as well. So he's doing his thing, and hopefully we can keep that pipeline alive, man. It's a great program under Dave Hennigan, and it's an awesome team to continue to rep. So I'm proud of them, and I'm thankful to have been able to go through that program under Joey Florence. So it's good.
Yeah. So for people listen, I know obviously, hey, you're in law school at Mizzou. You're wearing Mizzou gear. I know you still follow the team, but like, how closely are you following? And have you gotten a chance to kind of talk to the new coaching staff and Coach Drink and some of the guys, or do you keep a little bit of an arm's length these days?
I mean, it's tough to say because different guys I've tried to be in contact with, and those who have reached out to me personally and just wanted to chop it up, and just different coaches on staff I've seen in passing that I've been at practice early on to like during the summer training time, and just wanted to go out there and just show support, and even if I didn't necessarily know them super formally, at least I got to really show my face and let them know that I'm in support of the program, and I am, and I hope that they do well. I hope that they continue to just grow from where they are today, and just really adjust to being in this space such as the SEC, and really be able to bring some great wins, some big time championships to Mizzou, because if we're not really out here to win championships, I don't understand what we're doing. So that's kind of that's what I would be, and that's what I'm hoping for. And I hope that that's the message that's being relayed, is not just bowl eligibility, but championship games. So
You know a little something about those, certainly from a few years back. So last thing before we get to picking some games and show everybody how intelligent we are about college football, I wanted to, and Lord. I didn't give you any warning that I was going to ask you about this, but I did see a tweet a couple days ago. You were talking about going through some stuff and kind of about the way your football career ended, and you needed a podcast soon. So I just want to check, like, say what as much or as little as you want to say, but just I think Missouri fans all know kind of, hey, you got drafted and had a shot, and then obviously medical reasons you couldn't. But, I mean, how long did it take to kind of – obviously you're doing great things outside of football, but how long did it take to kind of come to grips with that and with the idea that, hey, this game you'd played forever, then you didn't get to play it anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. There's days where I can easily say, oh yeah, maybe like probably 2018, somewhere around there. And then there's days where I'm like, yeah, I still think about this. Like this is still just some awkward, like weird position to be in. Um, Especially the more I learn about the business of sport, I think it changes my mind every piece of information that I learn. I'm like, okay, so there's days I might be frustrated at that information. And there's days where I'm like, oh, okay, like I mean, it's just the business of sport, and it's a big reason of why I'm in law school today. It's to help, you know, others who are gonna not just gonna be in the position I was in, but I want them to understand just really how this whole thing works, even in college sports. It's not just once you go pro. It's even you go down to Den Ryan in the Texas high school football. Not just saying at Den Ryan, but Texas high school football. It's a business, and if you understand how to really work that and how to maneuver in that space, then you know how to separate it. And a lot of individuals want you to just bleed it and love it and treat it as if it can never go anywhere, and that's not the case. And I'm here to not take anyone's dream away by any means. I want them to still go for it. I'm pushing for all athletes to make it, but I'm also pushing for you to understand the business of it, because the sooner you can, the better off you're going to be, the better off your family's going to be, the better off everybody in your circle is going to be, because then you can see it from a perspective where you're not so emotionally attached to something that does not give you that emotion back. So I think that's a big piece. So yeah, there's a lot of times I think I want to start a podcast about it. That's where that tweet came from. But I'm just trying to see what the interest is. Sometimes I just wonder what people might want to even hear from me. So just testing the waters right now. So hopefully y'all who are listening, if that's stuff that y'all want to hear, let me know. Send me a tweet, tweet at me, and really just let me know. And I'd love to get on here and jump on and chop it up like this right here with Gabe, and put some information out there that I'm learning and things that some of my thoughts. So
there you go. Well, you're talking about the business of sport. I mean, all you guys came along a few years too late. I mean, it truly is a business now with name, image, and likeness. So here's what I really want to know: who'd you play with at Mizzou that like your teammate that would have cashed in, that would have made the most money off that kind of stuff?
I
mean, DGB might have done it before he played a game.
Henry Josie, is one.
Yeah.
Probably Marcus Lucas, Sheldon Richardson.
Sheldon had like a 3-year drama going, man. He could have turned that into a TV show, just his recruitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Blaine Gabbert. I'm thinking of big time recruits, and Doriel. I don't want to skip that. Doriel for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
No question. All right, well, Bud, this is the pick show, so this is what we're gonna do. Every week we get 9 games. I send them to you at like noon, so we've done tons of research for this. We're definitely going probably 8-1 at least. That's the bare minimum I expect.
I think if we can speak it into existence,
yeah,
we should be all right. I think we just got to manifest that right there.
I actually did go 8-1 week 1, and then I've never been that good since then. So, so first one we're starting, and we do a lot of SEC games, but we're starting outside the SEC. Okay. I just pick a couple other ones. So Michigan favored by 1.5 at Penn State. I don't know how much college football you watch every Saturday, like if you've seen any of these teams play or not, but Michigan 1.5 at Penn State.
Uh, at Penn State too. I can see Michigan going in there with a little, you know, fire in them after
Okay.
last week and everything. So, I can see that. Uh, more than a point and a half, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay. So you going with Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, I think so. And I
Okay.
like, the Jordan brand, so I'm a rock with that.
There you go. I'm all right. We're starting off opposite right away. I'm going Penn State at home. They played Ohio State tough a couple weeks ago. I
Mhm.
keep waiting for Michigan to, like, I don't know. They're undefeated, but I just don't know who they've. They're not undefeated. They lost to Michigan State, and I don't think they
Right,
beat anybody
right.
good. So I'm going Penn State there. This one, I know you're going to love picking this one. Texas is favored in Austin by 31 points over Kansas. I do not think I've had anyone pick Kansas to cover the spread yet. As a Texas guy, I'm interested to see where you're going to go with this one.
No, I mean, I can see them putting up 50,
Yeah.
so on KU, and hopefully they can get to 60. I'll say that. And
And
but
KU is
I'm
going to get
definitely
to not
going.
many.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see KU getting too many points. Maybe three.
Okay.
I can see a 65-3 victory.
Perfect. Perfect. We'll go with that with the official prediction. So I want to know, like, growing up
Yeah,
in Texas, were you a Texas fan growing up?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. That was a dream school of mine. Um, and to be honest, they were very fair in recruiting, and for me at least, and they were honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slipping on the coach's name at the time, the receiver coach, but they were letting me know, like, they knew I was interested.
Mm-hmm.
They knew I was kind of like on the fringe of. It was an era where they were. I mean, they continue to get five
They
and
were
four-star
rolling then,
athletes all
though.
the time, but
Yeah.
at that time it was like just five-star
Mm-hmm.
galore,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a receiver that they were waiting on. That I won't bring names up because I don't want to cause anything, but uh, that basically they were looking at
Mm-hmm.
bringing in. He was committed somewhere else, and they told me straight up, like, hey, if we have one left for a
Mm-hmm.
receiver spot, we, it will be great to have you here, but if he wants to be here,
Mm-hmm.
that's who we're gonna go with. So
Okay.
we're leaving it open for him. And
Mm-hmm.
then later on, he ended up decommitting from the previous school and choosing
Interesting.
UT.
See, it's interesting how things work out, and like a lot of us, obviously, I mean, we covered your recruitment and didn't know that story, so that's pretty interesting. And I was all ready
Yeah.
to pick Kansas to cover in this game because, like,
Hmm.
Texas now ain't Texas that you're used to, but I feel like Texas is just going to be mad, and there's just nothing KU can do about it. So I don't think Texas will
Yeah.
hold back. If they get up like 28, they're just going to keep pouring it on. So I'm with you. I'm going Texas in this one. Future SEC team, Texas Longhorns, going to win the game.
And how awesome is that, man?
I,
Just the
I
fact that,
think it's cool.
they're,
I
what do
think
you
it's
think
cool.
about that?
I like it. I want to see like a pod with Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas because like I like playing. I like the teams that you guys played in the Big 12. That was what I grew up on was the Big 8 and the Big
Hmm.
12, and there's just no real rival. Like I hate going to Gainesville, Florida. I don't want to do that. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of rivalries here. So I'm cool with playing some of the old Big 12 teams, except for Texas A&M. I don't like Texas A&M. I never want to go to College Station. I don't want them on the schedule. That's a weird
Really? You don't
place,
like? Why
man.
don't you like going there?
No, that's a weird place. I don't know. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of Texas
Hey,
A&M.
well, maybe outside the stadium. I can tell the stadium on the inside of that thing is amazing.
Yeah. Oh
And to
yeah.
be honest,
It's
it oddly threw me off my
did
senior
it.
year
Yeah.
because they completed like the interior of the design of the stadium.
Yeah.
So I had played there. I think we played there four times, maybe
Yeah. You
three
guys went
times.
there a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, and the first three times they all looked one way, and then our senior year, the
Yeah.
inside of the stadium looked completely different, and it didn't feel like I was at A&M.
Yeah.
And kind of threw me off honestly for a little while
That is
in the
the one
game.
place, when their fans start swaying back and forth. Like we sit up in the press box on the seventh floor, it actually moves. So
Hmm.
it's
Oh goodness.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not great. But I we'll get to A&M here later on. But before that, we got what do we have? We have Mississippi State.
Hmm.
Okay, Auburn's favored at home by 5.5 points over Mike Leach in Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way to go on this one. What do you think here?
You know, I do see Auburn getting the win. Do I see Mississippi State covering this spread here? That's always a really, really good game.
Mm-hmm.
When uh, I actually say that they do cover.
Okay, okay,
I say that they do cover in this game.
going
They
with
lose,
the
but Mississippi State. But I'm going with Auburn.
okay.
But I think they hold it within three.
Okay, okay. I actually think Mississippi State might win this game straight up.
Yeah.
I'm not an Auburn believer. I don't think they've got it much of an offense, and
Yeah.
Mike Leach, like this is not a Mike Leach team. They actually play defense. He has
Yeah.
allowed them to do that this year. So I'm going with you. I'm going Mississippi State to cover. I think they win. Next game up, Kentucky favored by 21.5 at Vanderbilt. A lot of people favored by 21.5 at Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah. I mean, oh, quite a bit. Not everybody, huh? So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Not everybody.
it's tough times. Um, I can see. Well, one, I can see Kentucky going down there taking care of business.
Yeah.
Um, 21 actually seems kind of low to me.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I can see that. Yeah, I can see a 30 plus that,
Okay.
Kentucky's gonna have the W.
Yeah. I don't think Vanderbilt can score more than like 10 on Kentucky. Kentucky's got a good
Uh,
defense. They've taken a couple hits, so
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Kentucky here. I like Kentucky's not great offensively, but I could see them winning like 30-7 or something like that.
Yeah. I think that one's more principle. Like it's just a matter of like you're supposed to go and just take care of business. If you are playing the way you're playing at this point of the year, you just got to do your thing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not let the bottom tier take you off of that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
All right
For the
now.
season. I'm not dissing Vandy. I'm just saying the bottom tier for the year.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this might be the best game of the week. Texas A&M favored by 2.5 points at Ole Miss, and
Mhm.
I can't remember. Were you ever on a team that went down and played at Oxford or not? Because I know they.
Absolutely.
Okay, I couldn't remember for sure. You didn't
Hmm.
get to enjoy the Grove or anything, though.
No, I always hear about this. It was things that, I just learned about over the years of being in the SEC. Everybody talked about the Grove and how cool it was and or how, vibrant it was, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean that's gonna be an awesome atmosphere. I haven't been there. Have you been there a couple times?
Yeah, I went down. I covered the
The Grove.
'07 game there, and then
Okay.
yeah, I can't remember if it was 2013 or whenever it was because it was it must have been 2013 because it was James Franklin's first game back after he got hurt.
Okay.
Was that game at Ole
Okay.
Miss? So
And
yeah,
towards them.
yeah. It was one of
Yeah.
those. It was one of
Yeah, I
those
remember
games
that.
where like you guys just got up and just kind of sat on them, and it's like it was just really
Yeah.
boring. It was like 24/7 or something like that.
To be honest, that was kind of a little bit of a boring game, but it was more so what made that one actually pretty fun. I'll give you a little insight to that was it was a very it was fundamental for like our game plan was very take care of the fundamentals. Like after probably the first or second quarter and the way we were playing, the way they were, defending us on defense and all of that, it was more so like manage the game at this point. It's not okay, let's try to go and put up 50. It's not that we weren't trying to score. It was they were still playing tough, but the way we were approaching it seemed very just like, hey, look, if you're called to block this play, make sure you're on the right shoulder, make sure you're on the you're in the right gaps, all those types of things. And I think we really just beat them fundamentally that game.
That was
That's probably why it seemed boring.
that was week one of what I'd like to call the James Franklin revenge tour, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
2012 happened, and then he got hurt, and Matty came in and won a couple games, and everybody thought Matty was the savior, and got to stick with Matty Mock. And I don't expect you to even comment on this, but I've said for years James Franklin's the most underrated player in Missouri football history. Like nobody ever appreciated what that dude did here.
Yeah, I never understood why. And the thing was, his senior year, 2013 season, we called it. He came back. He went out, I think, to like a Manning camp, or something for spring. Everybody else went home and went to like take a break and do whatever. James went to camp and came back in a whole different, like, not even physique, just the arm motion was different. The spin on his spiral was different. A much like more accurate ball. It was rare that he wasn't accurate, even in practice. And then that's when we knew, okay, like this James came back on a whole different level and was more demanding in the locker room, more demanding on the field, more vocal. But also more caring and more open to others' opinions and others' thoughts and others' way of life.
Yeah.
And that was like a piece I don't think people were expecting, and it molded into like, okay, that's QB1 right there, because he gets it, and he understands how to really lead this whole thing to where we're trying to go.
See, that's
and he wants to go.
That's funny. You guys had that experience with him, because from my side, like 2013, James came back and he was like the nicest kid I'd ever covered, right? He called you sir in every interview, and he still did that in 2013, but it was very clear in 2013 he did not want to talk to any of us. He did not want to answer any questions. He had no need for everybody who he just thought had buried him the year before. You know, so and hey, it worked for him. And I've talked to James a number of times. I actually saw him at a golf tournament earlier this summer, and still a great dude. But very underrated.
Awesome.
Okay,
very
so
underrated. Yes, I agree with you on that. Very underrated.
Yeah, back to the actual game. Texas A&M favored by 2.5. What do you think?
I've got some ties on both sides, really from the coaching standpoint. With Coach Henson over there at A&M, and we got over at Ole Miss, the D-line coach, Randall Joyner. I believe this is his first season, might be his second season. Sorry if I'm quoting that wrong. But we grew up in the, same areas.
Okay.
Back at home, and I grew up playing against him all through, like grade school and high school and stuff like that. So he ended up going off to play at SMU, had a great career, but got into coaching. Spent his time as a graduate assistant over at the Ohio State.
Okay.
And then got his time to be a full-time coach at SMU again, and then the big time job right there at Ole Miss, the D-line coach, man. So shout out to him. So you know what? I'm actually gonna go with Ole Miss, because that's got some folks from home from there, and I'm gonna rock with them.
I had made up my mind on this one that whatever, I have no idea who's going to win this game. So whatever you picked, I was just going to go the other way, so we can be different here. So I'm going Texas A&M for no reason. I mean, if you'd have picked A&M, I'd have gone Ole Miss, but that'd be a good game. I look forward to seeing that one. And then up next, Georgia just continues its march to the national title game. They're favored by 20 at Tennessee. Goodness. I mean, we know Georgia's going to win this game. The only question is, do they beat Josh Heupel by 20?
Yeah. I don't know about 20. I think they'll beat them. I think Georgia will beat Tennessee, but I don't think Heupel's losing by 20 points. He's going to give you a run for your money when it comes to offense and putting up points and wearing that defense down as much as possible.
Which defense, Georgia's or his own?
Yeah. Hey, and I think he's willing to put his own defense in the ground if it comes to like, hey, we need to score 60 points. Like, look,
Yep.
This is what you trained for all summer, all, spring and everything like that. So at this point, now you have to be ready to, this is a game you're going to be tired. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they've been talking to him about it all week. Like, you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, it's actually going to put a little pressure on Georgia to, make sure that they're keeping up with putting that type of points up. But
Yeah.
now that I think about it, they can also, they do a good job of controlling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And so they might be able to slow that down a little bit if they need to.
All right. So you sticking with
Okay,
Tennessee?
I'm going Georgia.
Okay.
I'm going Georgia.
Okay. I'm going Tennessee for some of the reasons you talked about. Like, I think this Georgia defense is ridiculous. I mean, they haven't given up 14 points to anybody this year. I think Tennessee score. I'm going to give Tennessee 20 in this game somehow. And I think they cover, but they're going to get beat, and Georgia's going to go win the SEC and SEC East and play for a national title, and we'll see what happens. But I think Tennessee's at least going to cover in this one. All right, one more outside the SEC. Purdue has beaten 2 top 5 teams this year. They are a 21-point underdog in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio State. What do you think? Jeff Brom got one more in him?
No, I think that's come to an end. However, they have some solid receivers there.
Yeah, David Bell.
And I think I don't know. I haven't really checked around like the country to see just how much attention the receivers are getting by any means, or if they're on anybody's like draft boards or anything like that. But those guys have real good, just really just of course catching ability, but just ball catch radius, like all of that, just the ability to really run routes. So I don't Purdue's not going to take that. I'm sorry, let me just go ahead and get that out of the way. Ohio State's gonna win that game. By how much? Do I think they're gonna really hit 20? Yeah, I can see that. I can actually see that. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Hey, Gar- Gary Wilson is a beast.
Yeah.
And recruited him out of high school and everything, and he's very, very good dude. But he knew where he was trying to go.
Right. Right.
So it was very interesting to kind of speak with him. But just such a good dude. Multi-sport athlete, was honestly a beast in basketball.
Okay.
And so if there's ever a chance to see anything on him in basketball, that I'm not sure if it's really out there like that, but dude could hoop, and I'm sure he still can. I bet he'll find himself at the rec from time to time at Ohio State and everything.
Not during football season though. Ryan Day's not gonna.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm. I think I can guarantee you LSU feels very disrespected right now by this line, if they're paying attention. But if anybody was like to be walking around and to hear that someone else believes that Arkansas is going to go in at LSU and beat them over there in Death Valley, no, I don't see that happening. I don't see it being much of a point difference, but I would say I would go LSU actually winning that game.
Okay.
By at least 7.
Okay. All right. Interesting. LSU straight up.
Yeah.
I've picked against Arkansas almost every week this year, but I'm going Arkansas in this one because I think LSU did everything they could to kind of hang around with Alabama last week. They got beat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just going to give up, honestly, with their coach on the way out the door. I think this is it, man. Yeah. I think Arkansas covers, gets win number 6, and they're bowl eligible. So, all right, this is the one everybody wanted. Everybody wants to hear about. We always save it for last. I looked it up. 2014 in a win at Columbia, South Carolina, Bud Sasser had 6 catches for 86 yards. That was the one where I mean, you guys literally did nothing for 3 quarters in that game, and then
Absolutely nothing.
all of a sudden, Matty Mock hit Wesley Leftwich with like a 26-yard pass, got down to the 2-yard line, and you guys woke up and beat them 21-20.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was some key plays there. Especially, I mean, that game was that year. We didn't have the most explosive offense
Right.
at the time, and however, we had some key pieces that could do some damage, in Murph and um Russ Hansborough just kind of doing their thing. Jimmy out there. Darius White was hurt at this point. Shoulder, I believe his was a shoulder. Jimmy's was a knee. Um, I actually hurt my shoulder in this game. I almost missed this game. Um, but I couldn't because one, just personally, I was like, okay, I can't miss a game now. I only get like 8 game or like, 10, is it 10 guaranteed, 12 guaranteed games for the senior year. And I was just like, yeah, I can't afford to miss a game. But I was out there just bandaged up, knees bandaged up, everything. Oh my gosh, I tore my labrum that game as well. So I that one was tough. But I say all that to say just that we were very, very stagnant at that point, but great atmosphere. Uh, I loved playing there. And I can feel like we can typically handle business for South Carolina. And this whole 1 point spread at this point is just, like people don't even know what to say to that. I mean, it's
Right.
just like, what, let's just make it a 1 point spread because
Yeah, it
who
actually
knows?
started out Mizzou was favored by 3 at the beginning of the week, and now it's South
Oh
Carolina
my
by a
gosh.
point.
Yeah, so I mean, of course I'm rocking with Mizzou.
Right.
Um I'm rocking with
So
Mizzou. Now, all I gotta say is we just it bet not be South Carolina.
yeah, that is
That's
though
that's really it.
that's one of my favorite places to go in the SEC. That game day atmosphere is
Yeah.
cool at Williams-Brice
Hey, right.
Stadium.
It really is.
And
It
I
really
mean,
is.
it's been a good series. Like it's
Yeah.
been competitive games. I know the one the year before that you probably don't much want to talk about, the 2013 game. Every Missouri fan still wins that one. But even going back to like
Yeah.
before they were in the same league, I mean the Independence Bowl where Brad Smith lit him up was a great game. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I always say, like, if I have no idea who's going to win a game, and I think if Mizzou and South Carolina played 10 times, like they could both win 5. But if I have no idea going in, then what good does it do me on a show that Missouri fans are watching with the site that Missouri fans pay me to pick South Carolina? So I'm picking Missouri
Yeah.
based on the fact that
So
I just
are
want to
you
make them
telling me
happy.
if you weren't getting paid, you would go South Carolina?
If I was getting paid by South Carolina fans, I would go South Carolina. If I'm getting paid by Missouri fans, I'm going Missouri. But I truly like
Okay.
nothing will surprise me in this game. I don't know what to think of this team. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they could beat South Carolina, they could beat Florida, and they could make it interesting against Arkansas, and they could also lose out. Like, I've got absolutely no idea what to make of this team. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
even know who's playing quarterback. If you've heard and you want to tell everybody who's playing quarterback for Missouri, let us know. But
No, I don't have no information for you. I can't give up the sources, man.
I
But
can
no,
see.
I don't know. I'm just playing. I have no idea,
Right.
and just as much as people know, people might know more than I do, to be honest. And,
Right. Right.
yeah, I just wait and see because at the end of the day, I look at it like you just have to show up, and I think in situations like this, it's opportunity for whoever is going to be at QB to show up. It's whoever is going to be out there on the field at that time. Are you going to can you put yourself out there in a position to where people can say, like, you can be the silver lining?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do something where somebody can remember, like, hey, I know this was the outcome of the season, or during these first few 8 games, 9 games, whatever we're at, this is what this looked like. But consistently, I've seen sparks when this person has had an opportunity. And it's not too many people we can say that about.
Right. Right.
But I do have one.
Who's that?
Towski Dove.
He's had a heck of a year. He really has, man. I mean,
and that dude has some hands for sure. And I don't know, and don't get me wrong, I don't know why that is and why, he's not necessarily the number one targeted person. Nor is it for me to really try to figure out at the end of the day.
Right.
But I like his game, and this is outside of Beatty. I just want that to be out there too, because he's clearly doing his part. So outside of that, I just hopefully he can keep that up, and hopefully if we see one day where he's targeted 8 to 10 times, what that'll look like. I'm not talking about the targets on little mesh routes going across the field.
Right. Now if Towski Dove went to like South Lake Carroll, would he still be the guy you're shouting out on this team?
I would.
Okay.
The reason why is because
No, I'm just giving you trouble, but he's had a good year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm happy that he's from my hometown, but it's at the end of the day, just watch and see who's actually catching balls down the field.
Yeah.
It's really not many. Look who averages, a certain amount of yards per catch. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. If you only have, less than a third of the receptions, but at the end of the day, it's not many people who have that many receptions on the team anyway, so
True.
There's not many yards, not many receptions. So it's like, look at who's bringing the most bang for your buck and just test the waters out one day.
Yeah.
And that's all. And I say that because I was in that role.
Yeah.
That's why I say that.
Yeah.
Because at the time, it's like, I knew what I had, but it wasn't my time to be that person yet. So, sometimes I wonder when I did get the, and then all of a sudden I did become the number one target, and I had those 8 to 10 opportunities. And when I did, I would have 8 to 10 catches, 100 and whatever yards and touch. And it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And it's just like, well, if you look at the numbers, just go back and add it all up and just make it makes sense. So that's why I say Towski does.
Yeah, that's like those 13 and 14 teams. Everybody talks about the defense, but I mean, Marcus and LaDamian and you and Doriel and then Jimmy Hunt in 2014. Like, there were some guys putting up numbers with, and look, I know you're never going to, I'm not even trying to talk bad about your quarterback, but especially in 2014, like, you guys put up numbers with a quarterback that was pretty up and down a lot of times, So.
I don't think that's bad to say. Like, man, he's still a good person.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's saying anything about him not being a good person. It's not saying anything about him. Because, at the end of the day, he will know how he played in 2014. Stats show how he played in 2014. And that's what we have to go off of.
Yeah.
And we have to go off what it looked like and what we saw, and from up close and personal, and having somebody throw it to you. I definitely appreciate it because he was a gunslinger, and he really, at times did not care. And at times, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And at other times, it's like, okay, in order to win this game, at some point we have to be strategic. And we can't just go out there and play like, we're just tossing the pigskin around.
Right.
It can't play like that. And sometimes when those times came, it became a little bit more challenging when, you're playing against a little bit better competition. And it can't just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just going to run around here for a little bit.
Right.
So it became a little bit challenging. So
I will tell you that my favorite move in the history of Missouri football is the Matty Mock spin move. Like, that dude spun on the field more than anybody I've ever seen. He'd run out of the pocket. There was nobody near. He would just sometimes spin just for the hell of it, man. I loved watching it.
Yeah. But man, I give it to Matty because there was days when just to make something out of nothing.
Oh yeah.
And at times, honestly, even if you go back and see before he started leaving that pocket super quickly, he was out there, he was getting beat up, so I get it, man. I'd be leaving the pocket too, but at that point, so but yeah, I mean, he was a baller, so
yeah,
we made do with what we could, and everything that everybody's going through and pushing through, we made it through and tried to do the best we could with what we had. So
well, Bud, I appreciate you taking some time, man. And we did make it through 45 minutes of this before I remembered to bring up that, like, you've still thrown the best pass in Missouri's 10 years in the SEC. So
Yeah, hey man. I saw somebody tweet it the other day when we played Georgia. But I saw a comment on there too, and they were just like, did anybody ever notice that he threw this ball 55 yards? And I was so happy that somebody has finally noticed this because
because
I've
like
been
it's
wanting
not like
someone to
LaDainian
say,
was wide open, man. Like they actually
no, he was
covered that
not.
pretty well, and you threw a hell of a
Yes,
ball.
I thought, and no joke, I really thought I put that ball on the money. I thought it was on the money, but Dang Dang went up and made a amazing catch, a contested catch. Because had he not, none of this, we would never have this conversation. But um, so I appreciate Dang for getting up there and making that catch, and because he would have been mad if I didn't throw it. So
Right.
I was gonna
Got,
be mad on the other end if he didn't catch it.
got to
So I
give your
think
guy a shot.
yeah, yeah. So we both did our part, and leaving that huddle, he's like, "Hey, can you throw the ball now?"
That's awesome. Well, Bud,
Yeah, it's all good.
congratulations on everything that you've been doing. And again, go to sassernation.com and check out what Bud's doing with his foundation. And appreciate you joining us, man. We'll definitely be in touch.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and shout out to Power Mizzou.
All right. Have a good one, man. Much appreciated.
Right on.
Bud Sasser, former Mizzou wide receiver, joining us on the show, and one of the good guys, man. Seriously, Bud is an example for tons of players out there who, like he said, man, he didn't really get his shot. He wasn't that guy until his senior year. All of a sudden, he was that guy, and want to show the picks one more time. To here's how we're going. We differ on Michigan, Penn State. We differ on Texas A&M, Ole Miss. We differ on Tennessee, Georgia, and we differ on LSU, Arkansas. So there's plenty of picks there. We'll see how it stacks up. This shows, hey, it's partially about the picks. We're keeping track. I've got a 4-game lead, no question. That matters. We're going to keep score all season long, but really we're doing this to catch up with some of my friends in the media business and some of the guys that I covered, that I enjoyed covering, that you guys enjoyed watching. So. Certainly hope you enjoyed that. We went a lot longer than usual, but I thought Bud made it worth the time and worthwhile, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching live here, hit the like button before you leave. If you are listening on the podcast, which I will put up momentarily, please give us a good review, say some nice things about us. And one more reminder that in the month of November, you need to call MasterTech Heating and Cooling. There were actually snowflakes in Columbia today. Not many, but there were a few. So it is getting cold out. You got to know that your furnace is working, guys. Make sure, at the very least, have MasterTech come out and inspect it. If you do schedule that free visit and quote on a heating and cooling system with MasterTech, you don't necessarily have to get it, but just have them come out, have them tell you what needs to be done. If you tell them you heard about it on Power Mizzou, you're going to get a $35 credit for a future service call for plumbing, heating, and or cooling. Also, if you do that call, MasterTech is going to give a $10 donation for every single call made to the Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri during the month of November. The food bank can turn that into $210 worth of groceries. So literally just by having somebody from MasterTech come out to your place and inspect your furnace, you're going to be providing $210 worth of food at the Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri. If you buy a new heating and cooling system, that donation is $100, which will be turned into more than $2,000 worth of food. Like I said, it's getting cold out. You're going to need it. Just have MasterTech out. Schedule that call at 573-777-7777. Get that done. And mention Power Mizzou, get the $35 credit. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate Bud Sasser taking 45 minutes out of his day on a Friday afternoon. And we'll keep track of the picks. Be here tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 with the pregame show for Mizzou, South Carolina. We'll see you guys then.